Stop overpaying for the other blue pills. Call us and start saving a ton of money for the exact same results. Ordering is fast and easy with your pills delivered to your door in a non-marked package. 800-223-0992. 800-223-0992. 800-223-0992. That's 800-223-0992.
Welcome to Picks and Parlays. It's Monday, November the 4th. Hope everybody had a great weekend. I'm your host, Nick Geber, in for Chelsea Messenger. You can find me on Twitter. Well, it's Nick Geber. Nothing too strange there for you. Hope you had a great weekend. I know I did. We had lots of the football that I like, the round stuff. Some really good results, by the way. If you tuned in on Thursday and got my Premier League picks, once again, folks, I was almost 70% on my picks this weekend. But I'm going to give up putting Manchester United out there because I did mention they give sports bettors heebie-jeebies, and once again they disappointed enormously. But I suppose when you're a super team and you end up in the doldrums after a big management change, that's what happens. Maybe the New England Patriots can look forward to the same thing. Of course, they did lose their first game of the season to the Ravens, so that was relatively exciting for me because, quite frankly, I like ABP, anyone but the Patriots. All right, well, we got a big show for you today. We're going to be joined by Craig Trapp for Craigulation Time. Coming up next, we're going to talk about some college football and NFL line movements for the opening lines, of course, because it is Monday. If we have time, we'll dabble in a little Monday Night Football, and that is the Cowboys and the Giants. We'll talk about that a little bit if we have time. Then we'll be joined by our very own star capper, Sean Higgs, for some college football. Temple at USF, Washington at Oregon, and Texas Tech at West Virginia. And guess what? Tomorrow, it all tips off. Basketball season, college basketball season, that is upon us. Very excited. And El Tigre, Tony Tellez, will be joining us to talk about it. And of course, we'll be looking at the Kansas Duke and Michigan State, Kentucky tip-off special. And we might do a little NBA in there, possibly Lakers and Bulls. Don't want to get everybody too excited. But in honor of college basketball tipping off, we have a special for you at picksandparlays.net. It's college basketball special right now, $4.99 through the end of the season. Heck of a deal. All right. Hope you're joining us on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. And if you're not, maybe you're watching us live on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. If you want to be a part of the show, just comment in the comment box on any one of those platforms, and we will see it here and endeavor to answer your question or discuss it on the air, provided it's not too rude. That is too rude. It can be a little rude, but just not too rude. All right, I am going to take a break. We'll be right back to kick it off with Craigulation Time right after this on Picks and Parlays. Don't go anywhere.
Jesse's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
As a nurse, not making it to work was not an option. But driving through the snow with my wiper blades struggling, I just didn't feel safe. So I pulled into O'Reilly Auto Parts, and before I knew it, an employee was offering to install the wiper blades on my car. I got to stay out of the snow for a moment, and I still made it to work on time.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey, travelers. Do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call, because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at ridiculously low prices. Our prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find ridiculously low prices for you. Call SmartFares today and get the best price on your next flight. Guaranteed. Also, save up to 50% off business and first-class tickets.
855-325-1780. 855-325-1780. That's 855-325-1780.
We paid less for our Craftmatic today than we did 20 years ago.
If you're still searching for the perfect solution to a good night's sleep, call now for prices and free information on today's Craftmatic adjustable beds. And then decide when you see how little they cost. Rated #1 by consumers nationwide on consumeraffairs.com. Craftmatic beds come in all mattress types, including cool gel memory foam for up to 50% less than today's leading memory foam brand. Enjoy temporary relief of low back pain, poor circulation, nighttime heartburn, mild arthritis. You'll sleep better in a Craftmatic adjustable bed. So if you're still searching for the perfect solution to a good night's sleep, call now for prices and information. And then decide when you see how little they cost. Discover Craftmatic for less, up to 50% less than today's leading memory foam brand.
Call 1-800-371-9608. That's 1-800-371-9608. Call 1-800-371-9608. Call now.
I love iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio.
Love it.
Everywhere, man.
Seriously.
Everywhere, man.
20 million songs from 450,000 artists. iHeartRadio.
Reno, Chicago, Fargo, Minnesota, Buffalo, Toronto, Winslow, Sarasota.
I create my own radio stations.
iHeartRadio.
Millions of songs, thousands of stations, one free app. iHeartRadio is that easy. Download the app today or listen online at iHeartRadio.com.
And you're back with us here on Picks and Parlays on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network, also streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. You can find us on any one of those platforms, and if you're on Twitter or Facebook, you can always hashtag us at #ParlayRadio, and we will see it and bring it into the show. Or if you're on YouTube, you can comment in the comment box. Actually, you can do that on any of them, and our producer, Andrew, will see it and put it up on the screen. By the way, we're going to give away a lot of free picks on this show. So be sure, if you're a betting man or woman, hopefully a responsible betting man or woman, that you have a pen and paper handy, because, you know, we give out a lot of picks. But don't worry, you can find all of these picks and loads more at our website, picksandparlays.net. Tons of free picks for you. And when you're ready, you can always kick it up a notch and get our expert picks. Right now, our college basketball special, $4.99 through the college basketball season. Great deal. All right, well, it's Craigulation time. And so who else would I be joined with but El Guapo himself, Craig Trapp. Craig, great to see you. Hope you had a great weekend. We got NFL opening lines and some college football opening lines. Should we start with some NFL? Let's talk Chargers at Raiders, or as, you know, as our dear capper and dear friend Chip Chirimbus likes to call them, the San Diego Chargers at the Oakland Raiders. What you got on this one, Craig?
Well, Week 10, believe it or not, Week 10's here. The Raiders and Chargers both coming off really big wins. This line started Oakland -1.5, already has moved to Chargers -1.5. I guess you get one good win, and everybody's maybe back on the Chargers bandwagon. But Raiders coming off, like I said, an equally good win, and now an underdog at home in this one.
Well, you know, I was speaking to Chip actually before we started, and he gave me some other ones I wanted to ask you about. The Kenosha Maroons against the Columbus Panhandles, and of course the Muncie Flyers against the Rochester Jeffersons. What do you have the lines on these ones, Craig? I believe you have to go back to 1929 for those particular matches, but who knows?
Yeah, that's only Chip. Chip only can do the opening line reports on those.
Yeah, that's true. All right, well, let's move along. Giants at Jets. I have the Giants -1.5. -1.5 to -2. Why is that one shifting?
Well, the Jets lost to the Miami Dolphins last week. So when you lose to a team that hasn't won a game and really have not really been close in most of their games, I think everybody's jumping off the Jets. And, you know, the Giants do play tonight. So this line could move because, of course, they're playing on Monday night. And, you know, injuries, or if they really look bad, this line could go back. So if you want to bet the Giants, I would do so now. I don't think you're going to get any worse line if the Giants play well tonight.
Well, when you lose to the Dolphins, I'm afraid that all those players are walking around with their heads in sacks, ashamed to show themselves in public. But let's move along. Panthers at Packer, or as you know, our good friend Chip Chirimbus would say, the Green Bay Acme Packers visiting the Panthers, or the Panthers are visiting them. We have Green Bay -7, and that shifted down to -5, Craig.
A little surprising here because obviously, you know, Panthers did look good in another win. Of course, still without Cam Newton. We'll be without Cam Newton again this week and maybe for the rest of the year, it maybe sounds like. But the Packers really sleptwalked through that game in LA against the Chargers, and I think this is more to speak about their play last time out. So we do see that line move from 7 to 5. If you're betting Green Bay, I would suggest you get on it now because I do think this line will go back to that 6.5 range before game time. Maybe not all the way to the key number of 7, but I do think the Packers have a lot to prove this week against a Panthers team that's been pretty good since Cam Newton went out.
So with a line that volatile, you definitely want to shop around, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would say there's lines already that you can get this anywhere from 4.5 to 6.5 I see out there. So depending on which team you want to bet, I would definitely be shopping this around all the legal U.S. sportsbook in the U.S.
All right, next one, the Dolphins. Fresh with the Big Mo on their side. At the Colts, Indy went from minus 15.5 to minus 10.5. I guess the question here is the Colts quarterback, Brissett, is he going to play or not?
Yeah, it sounds like he's questionable, but to be honest, the quarterback play wasn't terrible last week. It was kicking. They missed an extra point, and then of course the game-winning field goal. Adam Vinatieri might not make it to next week. Obviously, Hall of Famer, but he's not been good this year, and I like him either way. I just think the Dolphins, they're not going to play like that 2 weeks in a row. I think the Colts have a big bounce-back week this week. I think at 10.5, this one's a steal. All
right, should we do some college football, Craig? UCF at Tulsa. This is another big line, JF. UCF have gone from minus 12.5 to minus 17. The reasons for that, question mark?
Well, I just think UCF has played really well. I mean, their offense has been, maybe one of the best offenses in the country the last 3 years. I think that says a lot about this line. I think UCF at minus 17, I don't love it at that number. I was hoping we could get that off the key number and into that 16.5 carry. So you might want to wait if you're going to bet UCF if you like the favorite in this one on the road.
All right, Florida State at BC. Pick 'em to BC minus 2. And, of course, Willie Taggart. By the way, Mr. Taggart, if you watch Blazing Saddles, Anyway, no longer coach at FSU, though. Obviously, that's the reason that line has shifted.
Well, also, they played really poorly at home against their rival Miami. I mean, they showed, I won't say no heart because I hate to say that, but they did not show a lot of heart. And BC's looked pretty good last week. So Coach Taggart's gone. I don't think you're going to expect a lot different. BC minus 2 looks like a steal to me at first glance.
All right. Stanford at Colorado. This went from a pick'em to Stanford minus 3.5. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. Colorado has shown the ability to score points. Stanford has played a little better as the season has moved on here, but I was a little surprised that this line moved so much. This might be one of those advanced lines because sometimes you see that in some of these line reports that we're talking about. These are actually could have been an advanced line, but Stanford at minus 3.5. I think if I was looking at this one, I think I'd be looking at the home underdog in this one.
All right, the next one, the Bible Wars. Liberty at BYU. BYU went from minus 20 to minus 17. Which one has God on their side?
Liberty's been pretty good this year. They're one of those under-the-radar teams that have been pretty good. I think that's what more speaks to this line movement is that Liberty's really played, I won't say above their head this year, but better than most people thought. I think Liberty is a live dog in this one. I think they definitely cover, and they could give BYU some, upset talk here.
So you're telling me it's actual play on the pitch, not divine intervention. Okay, good to know that. All right, Tennessee at Kentucky. We've got Kentucky shifting from minus 4.5. Actually, big shift here to minus 1.5. That's really tightening.
Yeah, through the key number, I think it speaks more to Kentucky's issues ever since, of course, their quarterback went down this year. Tennessee's actually played better as the season moved on. So I think that's really more about that.
And finally, we've got Missouri at Georgia. This one, we've gone for another big shift here. Looks like we've gone Georgia minus 14.5 to minus 17.
Yeah, coming off big win, of course, in the cocktail party against Florida. I think that's what this line moved. Georgia was pretty impressive, and Georgia, of course, needs to win out to continue to make sure they end up in the SEC championship and a chance for the playoffs still.
All right, very quickly, Craig, because we just have 2 minutes left. Let's talk Monday Night Football. We got the Cowboys and the Giants. The Cowboys 4-3 against the spread. The Giants 2-6 and 3-5 against the spread. How do you see this one unfolding?
Well, my top play is going to be on the actual totals. Of course, you can get that over at picksandparlays.net. But if I was playing the side, I think I would play the Cowboys. I mean, the first matchup, of course, that was when Eli was still the quarterback for the Giants. I think they've looked much better, the Giants, since Daniel Jones took over. I think he just gave them some life, some hope that not even just for this year, but for the future. I kind of like the points here. I think if you're getting this many points with a Giants team that does have that hope now, and I think this is going to be a little closer than people. These rivalry games and the Giants-Cowboys don't like each other. They always seem to be a little closer. I think I would take the points with the Cowboys, with the Giants in this one tonight.
All right, Craig, very quickly, how many cappers do we have at picksandparlays.net?
We got 35 plus experts. I think it's actually 37 or 38, but we got some of the best. We've actually added a few guys over the last few years. If you follow us on Facebook, we do some contests and stuff. So we've done some really big contests that took months at a time, and we brought in some new guys, So if you follow us, of course, on our Facebook page, probably doing that again here once basketball season gets underway.
Yeah, absolutely. Facebook. By the way, somebody posted a college football parlay they did in our Facebook group. Did you see it, Craig? He bet $20 and it paid $40,000. He had 11 or 12 college football games on there?
Well, that was stole off of somebody else. I saw that posted on other sites that I follow. So it wasn't his ticket, but that is a real ticket. That is one guy that did post that. So, and don't forget LSU, Alabama this week. Number 1 versus number 2. Bama, as the number 2 team, is a 6.5-point favorite with a total of 65.
All right, coming up, LT Gray. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Attention to anyone that's written a book or wants to write a book. The process is not that complicated. Take a first step. Even if you write a page a day, you'll build momentum and your book will become a reality. The hard part is getting it published. That's when you need to call Page Publishing. They've got hundreds and hundreds of thank yous from different new authors, just like you. They make the process of publishing your new book and getting it sold online a simple process. You can learn how simple it is right now by calling for your free Page Publishing New Author Submission Kit. One quick 3-minute phone call, that's all it takes to get free information and learn how you can get your book published. Pick up your phone right now and call us 24 hours a day at this number, 800-603-0885, 800-603-0885, 800-603-0885. That's 800-603-0885.
Hi, I'm Dr. Robert Clapper, Chief of Orthopedic Surgery at Cedars-Sinai Medical Group in Los Angeles, California. Dedicated to your health, your life, and your sports. As a weekend warrior, you know about sports injuries and pain. Exercise is an important element in keeping your body's core in good shape to minimize sports injuries. But when you are in pain, there is one product that I recommend to my patients, and that is Blue Goo Gel. Blue Goo consists of a proprietary formula developed specifically for the treatment of inflammation and general muscle aches and strains. I recommend Blue Goo for my patients coping with hip and knee pain before surgery, especially bursitis and tendinitis. Give Blue Goo a try. Call 1-888-330-0123 and you'll receive a 1-week supply of Blue Goo absolutely free. The makers of Blue Goo are even paying the shipping. The number again is 1-888-330-0123. If you want more information on Blue Goo, visit online at www.dothegoo.com.
Now available at select Big 5 stores near you.
This is an urgent health notice for all residents suffering from back, neck, knee, and wrist pain. You may qualify for a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you, but the deadline is fast approaching. Simply call the Health Alert Hotline now.
You heard right. You may qualify for a pain-relieving back, neck, knee, or wrist brace. These items may even be covered by Medicare or your private insurance. The Health Alert Hotline is your brace company. These specialized braces have been tested for pain relief. Call us toll-free right now to determine your eligibility and to learn how to use your private insurance or Medicare to minimize your out-of-pocket cost. Don't wait. If the deadline passes, you may lose your opportunity to get a pain-relieving back, neck, knee, or wrist brace at little or no cost to you.
800-430-9571. 800-430-9571. 800-430-9571. That's 800-430-9571.
Well, welcome back to the show, Picks and Parlays, here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network, also streaming live on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. I'm your host, Nick Geber. Great to be with you. Well, it's finally here. College basketball season tips off in style tomorrow when the top two teams in the AP preseason poll will meet in the Champions Classic in New York City at Madison Square Gardens. That's number 1 Michigan against number 2 Kentucky, and then the next game in the doubleheader will be the number three Kansas Jayhawks against number 4 Duke Blue Devils. Joining us on the guest line, our star handicapper, El Tigre, Tony the Tiger Tellez, joins us to break down these games and maybe a little pinch of some Lakers and Bulls as well. Tony, exciting stuff tomorrow.
Yeah, very exciting start to the college basketball season here with a nice doubleheader over on ESPN from Madison Square Garden. Seems like college basketball starts earlier and earlier nowadays with the November 5th. I still think at some point they're going to start this season on Halloween. It would be a great idea and have everyone come up dressed up in costumes. It'd be festive, but I think at some point we'll see that. But yeah, we got 4 of the top 4 teams in the nation squaring off in Madison Square Garden. Nick, looking forward to some college hoops this year, and of course to some changes because they have moved the three-point line back. It's going to be kind of at FIBA regulation. It's not NBA where I'd like to see it, but three-point line move about 16 inches back. We'll see if it makes a difference in shooting here. It did impact the shooting percentages when they did it several years ago. We'll see what impact it has this year on the three-point shooters.
Yeah, it's interesting though. Just as an aside, before we get into these games, I mean, we're seeing this. You see this not just in college basketball and college football, but in all sports. You know, the athletes get better, they get more technical, they get more scientific. You see it in the NBA. I mean, you know, if you could watch an NBA game today and then watch an NBA game from 30 years ago, I think you would be really surprised at the difference in the pace, at the difference in the quality. And so, you know, the fact that kids are now able to, you know, sink multitudes of threes with a three-point line 16 inches further forward than it's going to be this season. We'll see if it has a major effect on it. But, you know, Tony, I have to think probably not.
I don't think it will. And, usually these rule changes, we saw the shot clock was the biggest change we've seen. And a lot of people think more possessions help the bigger programs. And if you notice, we like to see the upsets during March Madness. Everyone likes to see the upsets except the networks. The problem is when you get those matchups with these Cinderellas, it turns out to a blowout the next time. These networks like to promote these top programs as you go deeper to March Madness. We know there's big money in it. So I think some of the naysayers out there are saying, well, they're going to try and make it harder for the little guy. You know, when you have 300 plus programs in Division I basketball, you really want the cream to rise at the top when you're a network executive.
Well, when there are network executives, there's a few things you want. You do not want the Washington Nationals and the Houston Astros to be playing in your World Series, number one. But number two is if you pay $1 billion plus TNT for the rights to the NCAA tournament, you want big upsets. You want minnows knocking off monsters because that's what gets the excitement going. College basketball, I think, much unlike many other sports, particularly you can see it in college football, by the way, where, Alabama are sort of the anointed favorites before every season, and Auburn, and, college basketball, people love to see these matchups. They love to see these massive, the minnows knocking off the big guys, and that does definitely enhance the ratings. But let's get to it, because none of the first 4 teams we're going to talk about here can be considered college basketball minnows in any way, shape, or form. Let's start with number 1, Michigan State against number 2, Kentucky. Michigan State, number 1 in the preseason poll. This has happened in the first time in the program's history. I mean, this is a perennially great program, by the way. But despite coming 32-7 having a 32-7 record last season, believe it or not, they're actually looking for some sort of redemption because they lost to Texas Tech in the Final Four. Cassius Winston returning for his senior year, big boost to the program. And they have 3 other returning starters. Kentucky returning 4 regulars from a team that went 30-7 last season. By the way, this is really unusual because John Calipari is, king of the semi-pro player, the one and done. The fact that he's got 4 returning regulars. Give me your breakdown on this game, Tigre.
Okay, we got Michigan State favorite here, 2.5. You're right, with Calipari no longer the one and done king. They're getting spread out. A lot of those going to Duke now. And you made good points here about the returning starters here for Spartans. And I like the Michigan State Spartans here at 2.5. They made a deep run. And the fact is a lot of the players who are starting here saw action during their Final Four run, especially their starting backcourt that returns. Cassius Winston and their shooting guard, Jeremy Langford, they're returning to the lineup this year. And, Langford, he did have an injury, but a really good perimeter shooter from last year. And as we talked about here, there's a really strong culture of winning with defense that has been taught by head coach Tom Izzo, and I really like their team in this spot. Now, Kentucky, it is one starter from a season ago. That's Ashton Higgins. Now, that's their point guard, and one thing about Higgins, he really lacked the consistency, and you don't really like it when a head coach, when the media report says, well, Higgins is kind of figuring it out. It's figured it out. Well, I don't know. We have to wait and see here. Of course, Coach Kell, he likes to spread his minutes out. And, of course, the top recruits don't all land. Those freshmen don't all land in Kentucky anymore. And what I really look for Kentucky is nowadays they're starting to peak later during the season. So here in the preseason, we're not always going to see Kentucky at their best. So that's why I like Michigan State here minus a 2.5.
All right, there you have it. Let's move on to the second of our doubleheader. It's Kansas Jayhawks against Duke Blue Devils. Kansas looking for a bounce-back season, even though they went 26-10 last year. Look, guys, we're talking about the cream of the basketball crop here with these four teams. So, you shouldn't be surprised. But last year was a disappointment because it was the first time since 2004 that the Jayhawks didn't win the Big 12 regular season title. So that was a bit of a slap in the face to them, and they're looking not to repeat that this year. You can guarantee that. Duke, on the other hand, are looking to make the Final Four. But this seems bizarre. For the Final Four for the first time in 4 years, it's funny how time sort of compresses, right? Because it seems to me like Duke are in the Final Four every year. But in fact, it's been 4 years. Duke is considered to have one of the best freshman classes in the nation. Duke is 0-4 against the spread in the last 4 neutral site games. And Kansas 5-1 against the spread in the last 6 meetings. By the way, the last meeting between these two teams was in 2018 in the NCAA tournament where the Jayhawks knocked out the Blue Devils, winning 85-81. Take it away, LT Gray.
All right, in this one we got Duke favored by 2, and I do like Duke in this spot -2. Also with Kansas, you got that little controversy around the program with institutional control by Coach Bill Self. They're under investigation, so there could be some distractions there with the Jayhawks. But as you said, they did lose 4 starters, but they're getting 4 really top freshmen to go along with their point guard, sophomore Trey Jones. He's on a mission. Instead of testing the waters in the NBA draft, like the 4 starters from last year, he immediately decided to return to school to do what his brother did. That is win an NCAA college basketball championship. And that motion will spread, I believe, to the youth of this team. Good leadership there with Jones. He averaged 34 minutes a game, 9 points. And again, I like the point guard returning for Duke. Remember, he was behind Zion and R.J. Barrett. I mean, remember last year, all the hype with Zion Williamson. They were anointed the champions.
Them all, right? They have to replace them all.
They had to replace. Yeah, and of course, Barrett's showing off pretty good shooting form with the Knicks and his new team. So I still think Jones here can really show some leadership and help this freshman class grow. Cassius Stanley, Wendell Moore, Matthew Hurt, Vernon Carey are names you're going to hear for the first time on over national TV in college to play alongside Jones. But Duke did exit the NCAA tournament with a 1-point defeat to Michigan State. That's in the Elite 8 last year, which is a pretty good run for them. They didn't get to the Final Four, but as you said, Nick, I think this is a team that can gel together and make that run to the Final Four. And it's not all about Zion, which it seemed like it was last season.
Yeah, well, that is true. But as a UNLV Rebels fan, of course, we don't want that to happen. All right. And UCLA Bruins. I don't know why. These teams, I love them, but, what can I say? I do know why. Alma mater, but what can you say? All right. College basketball season tips off tomorrow. Those are your 4 games. 2 games. 4 massive teams. This is a heck of a way to start. If you tuned in, though, for the Canelo Alvarez fight this weekend, I promise you won't have to wait an hour and a half for the UFC fight to end before you can watch these games. They come on time on the big networks. It's going to be great fun. Tune in. All right, let's quickly hit some NBA. Lakers at Bulls. Lakers 5-1. 5-1 against the spread. Lakers, they have gone under 5 and they have gone the under in 5 of their last 7. And they've been on a roll since that opening day loss to the Clippers. The Bulls 2-5 against the spread, coming off a 95-108 loss to the Pacers. Total has gone under in 4 of the Bulls' last 5 versus the Lakers. All the signs, all the tea leaves, the crystal ball is pointing to an under here. What say you?
Yeah, I agree with them. I like the under here, under 217. The line has LA favored by -5.5. I don't really want to lay the points with Lakers, especially on the last game of a successful homestand. You're always worried about that. You got 2 in your pocket. In that final game, I want to stay away from the spread, but I like the 217 under here. Chicago has been a team that's been disappointing. They have a lot of talent. They're 2-5 to start the season. The problem is they're really shooting poorly to start the year. 41% overall, 31% from 3. Their shooters, Markkanen, Levine, Otto Porter Jr., terrible from the three-point line overall as well. Has just been bad for them. Of course, Otto Porter Jr. may miss this game with a sprained ankle. He'll be a game-time decision. But you know what? We talked about the Lakers about a week ago, Nick, and they've been living up to that preseason commitment about playing defense, holding opponents to 99 points, 40% shooting, 30% from 3. Though offensively they're not hitting their threes, it's come down now to 31%. But on defensive efficiency ratings, holding opponents to 96 points per 100 possessions. And one thing that helps you when you play defense is the schedule makers have been nice to Lakers. Nick, so far, no back-to-backs on the schedule.
All right, Tony T, there you have it. Take the under on this particular game. I can't believe college basketball is here. You're right. It does seem early and earlier. It's great, though, because it's such fun and it's such high-paced college basketball. The season starts and then seems like you're right in the middle of it, and then you're into the tournament, and, it's really great stuff. What better way to celebrate the start of the college basketball season than our college basketball special, $4.99 right now, picksandparlays.net. You can find Tony T there, as well as a lot of our other expert cappers. But personally, I recommend for this one, Tony T. Find Tony Tellez at picksandparlays.net. All right, coming up next is Sean Higgs. We're going to talk about some college football. Stay with us here on Picks and Parlays.
Hey, I'm Hall of Fame catcher Johnny Bench. I used to hit dingers and throw lasers when I was a Major League Baseball player. Now I do yard work, raise my boys, and get the occasional 18 holes in, but I still have to deal with that Hall of Fame pain. I use Blue Emu pain relief products. The Blue Emu Maximum Arthritis or Continuous Spray are easy to use. I just spray or rub it on. No stinging or burning. Blue Emu. It works fast and you won't stink. Available at nationwide retailers.
Men, if you want to pee easier, listen to this. A new Nobel Prize discovery was just proven in a clinical trial to help men pee 241% more, ending multiple trips to the bathroom and the constant urge to go. This breakthrough is finally available in a pill called Prostavive LS, developed by famed men's health expert Dr. Al Sears, and for a limited time, you can get a free bottle. Call 800-769-8155. Patients who've taken Prostavive LS are singing its praises.
Hi, my name is Paul, and I'm 73 years old. I used to get up multiple times a night to go to the bathroom, but after taking Prostavive LS, I now sleep through the night.
Prostavive LS does not require a prescription, and there are no side effects, but this free bottle is not available in stores. Call 800-769-8155 to get your free bottle of this Nobel Prize-winning discovery proven in clinical trials to help men pee 241% more. That's 800-769-8155.
Imagine this is your money and someone wants to take it from you. Who is it? The IRS. They want your money, and guess what? They can legally take it, all of it if they want. Remember, they sent you that letter that said, hey, you owe us a bunch of cash and we're going to take it from you. So what do? Fight back by letting our team of experts at the tax helpline work it out with the IRS so you can keep your money. And we're good at what we do. When you hire us, you get a team of guys on your side that know the IRS laws and will fight to save your money. So, if you owe the IRS a ton of cash and you want to keep it, call right now and learn for free how we can help you put it back in your pocket.
800-932-1749. 800-932-1749. 800-932-1749. That's 800-932-1749.
You're in charge of hiring, and Indeed has solutions, like online skills tests, which let a candidate show that they're the right hire. We'll also have a dolphin chatter excitedly in front of the perfect candidate. Okay, there's no dolphin. But skills tests, that's a for sure.
See why independent research by Silk Road shows Indeed delivers 3 times more hires than any other job site. Visit Indeed.com/promo today and get a free sponsored job upgrade on your first posting. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply.
Welcome back to Picks and Parlays here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. Just a reminder, we're with you each and every weekday from 4 p.m. Pacific. If you're on the left coast, that's 1 p.m. That's Monday through Friday. If you don't know what weekday means, hopefully you do. If you're betting on sports, I sincerely hope you have that one figured out. I'm your host, Nick Geber. Find me on Twitter at Nick Geber. For those wanting the eminently more attractive Chelsea Messenger, she will be back after her maternity leave. So calm down out there, okay? All right, joining me to talk a little college football, our very own star football player himself in the handicapping world, of course, Sean Higgs. Sean, how you doing today?
Pretty good. You know, I can put the blonde wig on for the guys who like Chelsea. You know,
I think that's a great idea, frankly, Sean. I think you would look
costume.
You would look spectacular. Yeah, I'm sure you would. Everyone would love you. By the way, I imagine your people wanting to find your picks at picksandparlays.net will just skyrocket with that blonde wig. Okay, let's get to it because we talked about college basketball season tipping off, but of course the college football season is well underway at this point. We have curated 3 of the finest games for your personal punditry and prognostication, Deshaun. Let's get to it so that our punters can place a bet when they want to. Let's start with Temple at USF. Temple 5-3, 4-4 against the spread, following up on a 63-21 loss to USF. Look, last weekend, that happened last weekend. The Owls are desperate to stop this 2-game losing streak that they're on right now, but they've been outscored in these 2 games, 108-42. That ain't great, to be honest, if you're an Owls fan. On the other side, USF 4-4, 5-3 against the spread, coming off a 45-20 win over East Carolina. I think this is Temple minus 1.5, and the points are 53. Is that right, Sean?
I'm seeing a 2.5 right now, but
Ooh,
you know
okay.
they do change. They do change a little bit. The game's Thursday night, so it's going to be a, the home field you'd want. South Florida, you think at 4-4, you want some fanfare. You need some bowl help. You got Cincy, Memphis, Central Florida all coming up. I like the home dog here. Like you said, Temple 2 straight losses, getting blown out. South Florida with a decent defense. You know, the offense struggled out of the gate. I mean, I had them against Whiskey. I had 13 points. The line went down to 10. I'm thinking I got good value, and Whiskey blows them out. So I think their offensive number is a little staggered because the way they started the season. But here I'm going to take them. This freshman, Jacques Evans, they bring him in last week. That goes for 100 yards on the ground. So maybe it's a nice little wildcat option for them, little change of pace kind of guy they use. I don't know. I'm going South Florida. I thought they'd be better than their 4-4 record. Navy beat them, although Navy's not having a bad season. Temple's just down right now. And listen, laying points on the road is tough. It's a midweek game. South Florida needs this. If they got any kind of bowl hopes to get to 500, stay 6-6, to be bowl eligible, they need this win here because the next coming up is really, really some tough teams. I mean, maybe you catch Cincy sleeping. I don't think so because they were just in a tough game. You know, Memphis is playing for something. So, and then you got Central Florida who historically beats up on the mid-level teams here. So I'm taking you're getting a point and a half. Money line this puppy for 110, 115, 120, whatever you get it at. And let's take South Florida. Let's go Bulls.
I'm telling
Blake
you.
Bortles old crew down here, I think.
I'm telling you, Sean, chili cheese fries, my
Quarterback
friend.
factory.
Chili cheese fries. That's right. If you want to be bowl eligible, Tony's chili cheese fries will make you bowl eligible very quickly. All right, let's. Although
a lot of White Castles out there. Got a lot of White Castles out
yeah,
there.
that's right. In this particular,
that's before you get out of the car.
That's true. That is so true. This particular game, though, is interesting because both these teams can be considered to be real perennial underachievers this season. I think the preseason rankings were a lot higher on these teams. I think people looked at their squads and thought they should be doing a lot better than this. So maybe a little underachievement. Maybe USF going to, as you said, going to try and find that bowl eligibility without visiting Tommy's. Okay.
And like you just said, real fast though, like, you get 2 teams like said underachieving. Maybe you look at you over here because they start throwing some trickery in and you get some madness going on. So perhaps an overplay here on a Thursday night.
Yeah, at some point something's got to click in, right? I mean, we're middle of the season plus at this point. At some point something's got to work. I mean. Well, we'll see what happens. All right, next one, Washington and Oregon. The Huskies 5-4, 5-4 against the spread, only 2-4 in conference. So that is a huge disappointment for the Huskies. And coming off a 33-28 loss to Utah, only averaging 34.9 points per game and 416 yards. They hope to end a 2-game losing streak. Oregon, on the other hand, 4-4, 6-2 against the spread. The Beavers hoping to make it 3 in a row, so you've got completely different fortunes going on here. After their wins against Arizona and Cal, Washington, now these lines have probably changed because much like Chip Chirimbus, they're pretty old. Washington minus 11, the total 62.5. How do you see this one?
Man, the chip age jokes just never stop.
Well, I can't help it. Chip Chirimbus is a good friend of mine, and I can poke as much fun at the Chippers. Because actually, within the Picks and Parlays family, I think he is the oldest. Unfortunately, I believe I'm the second oldest. So you have to be able to point the finger at those who might be a few days older than you are.
I hear you. I'm younger, just by a hair. But so this line, I see 10.5. I see a 9.5 actually up here. And I gotta tell you, I'm selling this Washington. This, they killed me last week. I had a big play on Washington. It was my top play, and they got out to an early lead. They had a nice lead a little bit through the game, and then they just fall apart. Are you kidding me? Chris Peterson's got to go. 3 straight losses. You're not even in the 35-31, 33-28, 23-13. They're 1 win over Arizona, which, how good is Arizona? They got to be pathetic because Oregon put a 56 spot up on them. Give me the Beavers here. Give me Oregon State plus 10. I might even sprinkle some money line in here. This season has just gotten off the rails. You wasted Eason for Washington here. You know what? As good as his season is, 20 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. How about Lufton here, the QB for Oregon State, 19 TDs, 1 interception. So he's not too bad himself. Give me a home dog getting 10 points here. It's a Friday night game. Again, these are one of those games. Hopefully the crowd comes into town here for the home team. At 4-4, you want to get to the bowl. You want to beat a Washington team that had high hopes. They were supposed to be, them and Utah were supposed to be the cream of the crop here of the Pac-12, with Oregon lurking because of, and then Oregon's having a nice season. But forget Washington. I'm done with them. Peterson's always better in the dog roll, and he couldn't come through last week. I'm fading him. 3 losses in 4 games, 10 points. Listen, 2 straight wins for Oregon State. They got to be happy. They're going to be playing real confident ball here. They're playing confident, and Washington's got to be like, what a wasted season we had here. We had high hopes, and here we are, 5-3, looking at the Alamo Bowl or whatever the heck they're going to be at when they're 8-4 at the end of the season.
All right, let's go along. Next one, this is another one of these matches, similar to games, excuse me. By the way, Al Nino says it's hard to go against the Lakers right now. Agree. As mentioned, since that loss to the Clippers, they've been on fire. Let's go, though, back to college football, Texas Tech at West Virginia. Now, we talked in the first game about how it was 2 teams that have been underachieving and are ready to come through. I mean, there is no better example. We have 2 teams here with a combined 7 straight losses. The Red Raiders 3-5, 4-1 against the spread in the midst of a 3-game losing streak, losing to Kansas, Iowa State, and Baylor. And West Virginia, on the other hand, 3-5 against the spread. They are stuck in the crap, folks. They really are. They are going to do everything they can not to make it 5 losses in a row. This is a shocker for West Virginia fans. Texas Tech, though, the numbers I have on this one are minus 1.5 with a total points of 60. My question for you, Deshaun, on this one is, this is like watching a barrel of gunpowder sit there and a fuse lit going towards it. I mean, again, these are 2 teams, something is going to happen. You have to think, this could well be just like, you don't see this game dying a death of boredom or death of 1,000 cuts. It just seems like somebody or both of these teams are going to have a score fest here.
Well, you think so because you got Texas Tech, who's a top 20 offense, and they're a top 120 defense because their defense is terrible. So, West Virginia put up 14 against Iowa State, 14 Oregon, 14 Baylor. I mean, not much of an offensive team here, one of the worst offensive teams. But this is a rebuilding year for them. So 3-5, they had won 5 straight West Virginia wins here over Texas Tech. I'm going to take Texas Tech here. I think they're a little better. Again, both teams 3-5. We got a terrible defense, but at least we could score.
Yeah.
So I'm in a low game like this, basically a pick 'em. You just got to really win the game. You don't think a team's going to be, I'm going to lay 1.5 and think you're going to win by 2. I'm taking this team thinking it's going to be 36-22 and it's a 10-point win or something. So I'm going to lay, it's a short point. point and a half, whatever the case may be. Total 60, maybe something you got to look at also, because I don't think Texas Tech's going to be able to stop even a bad West Virginia team. West Virginia will put up some points.
Yeah.
But again, I don't have faith in a team that scored in the Big 12 3 times less than 15 points. That's not a good sign at all. So give me Texas Tech here. The offense just should be able to get it done, and defense does enough to cover a 2-point spread, basically. You can't win this game, Texas Tech. Come on. Get it done here. You got a losing streak. You're versus a bad rebuilding team. The whole faction of West Virginia has changed. You got to have at least 2 guys on this Texas Tech team who's been here to suffer these 5 losses straight to West Virginia. So revenge time served up for Texas Tech.
Yeah, I'm one of these guys. I happen to love these types of games because when you've got 2 teams that are deep into losing streaks, they have a lot of pride, and there's a lot of pressure on them to do something, even if they lose and go out with a bang. I mean, at least it's like, go out there and do something. Show me why I am a booster for this university. Show me why I am, the backhanded channel paying all these players. Excuse me, I didn't say that. But you know what I mean. These generally can be fun games to watch, and certainly they can be somewhat unpredictable from a betting standpoint. All right, let's turn our attention very, very quickly to the tip-off of the college basketball season, Deshaun. The 2 big games. Give me your thoughts.
See, I'm not the big games. I'm locked in on Houston Baptist and Tulsa. That's a game I'm looking at for tomorrow. But
well, tell us why.
Maybe Duke. Houston Baptist. I don't know. They got like 8 rotation guys back who scored more than like 4 or 5 points a game. They got a lot of depth, and listen, I'm getting 15 points from Tulsa. Tulsa's lost their point guards. Beginning of season, I'm looking for teams that got starters back and 4 or 5 starters back. I want guard play. I want cohesive teams. I saw you mentioned the Kentucky, who've usually one and done guys, but now they got 4 guys back who've been there a year. That's huge for Kentucky. That's huge. If that's big for a mid-major, it's even better for a perennial top 5 team like Kentucky. So that's what I look at when I go into my college basketball. I mean, it's easy to get Duke and Michigan State and all the blue bloods, North Carolina. Those lines are going to be perfect because that's where the money's coming. You got to look a little off the grid and do your homework, but it's all there. You could find out who's got 4 starters back, who's got 5 starters, who the head coach has been here a long time. It's just a system that churns out solid play beginning of the year. My favorite time, November, with these college basketball tournaments early. And like El Tigre just said, man, I can't believe it's like the 4th and we're starting. Usually we got till the teens. Usually starts up like the 10th, second week of November. Here we are, right out of the gate. I love it. Love college hoops.
Well, Deshaun, that is exactly why people should go to picksandparlays.net and sign up for your expert plays. You do college football, you do college basketball, you do it all. But if you want to know how to get the edge, you just heard some of it right there from Deshaun, who gave you some real good betting tips. The big money, the big games have the big money, and those lines really pretty much reflect that, and maybe not necessarily the best value. Go to picksandparlays.net. Right now we have our college basketball special, $4.99, now through the end of the college basketball season. It's really a great deal. We also have lots of free picks at picksandparlays.net, including Sean Higgs, including Tony Tellez. All of our guys, you'll find them up there. And when you're ready, you can buy their expert picks as well, just to kick it up a little notch. All right, when we come back, I'll recap it all here on Picks and Parlays. Thank you, Sean. I'll be right back after this.
Thank you. Take it easy, Nick.
Not too long ago, it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank, didn't it? For a vacation or a new car. But today, withdrawing your own cash has become risky. Pat Boone here for Swiss America. According to The Secret War, a new Swiss America white paper, I learned that all banks are now required to spy on you and me for the government, and then report any financial behavior deemed suspicious or unusual. You must read The Secret War. It's free. Truth is, I believe the government's new war against cash is really a war against us all. But the secret is now out. So please, get and read The Secret War.
Pick up your phone and call right now. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. Once again, that's 800-932-5517.
Are you an active stock market investor? Well, then you know these three key words: buy, sell, hold. Those three magic words can make or lose you money in the stock market. What if we can show you a time-tested tool that's been helping stock market investors succeed for over 30 years? It's called VectorVest, an amazing system designed to make smart investing easy. The VectorVest system analyzes, sorts, and ranks over 19,000 stocks every day and tells you when to buy, what to buy, and when to sell any stock to maximize your profits in less than 10 minutes a day. And if you call right now, you can test drive our amazing VectorVest system risk-free for 30 days for just $9.95.
800-584-2519. 800-584-2519. 800-584-2519. That's 800-584-2519.
Do you owe $10,000 or more on at least 2 federal student loans? Then you may qualify for new programs offered by the Department of Education. These programs can reduce your interest, lower your payments, and possibly qualify you for loan forgiveness. If you have $10,000 or more and at least 2 federal student loans and currently not in school, you may qualify for one of these programs. Call now to check your eligibility. Student loan advisors are standing by to help you determine if you qualify for these new programs. They can help you reduce your interest, lower your payment, and even forgive a portion of your student loan debt. Take control of your financial future. Make this free 5-minute free call now to Nationwide Student Loans and learn how you can reduce your student loan debt.
800-439-7851, 800-439-7851, 800-439-7851, 800-439-7851.
All right, welcome back to the show, Picks and Parlays. I'm your host, Nick Geber. You can find me on Twitter at Nick Geber, and you can find me right here Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. on the left coast on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network, also on the American Forces Network, and streaming live on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. We've had a lot of picks today with our expert pickers. We had, of course, Craig Trapp, El Guapo, followed by El Tigre, Tony Tellez, and topping it off with Sean Higgs. We've covered some college football and NFL opening line reports, college basketball, and more college football. So we're going to recap all that in a second. Very quickly, though, a lot of people asking me about the Champions League, if I have any picks for this week. You know, I'm looking at tomorrow's games. It all looks pretty standard. I wouldn't say anything great there, except for this Chelsea-Ajax game at Stamford Bridge. Ajax might be visiting and looking for a little payback. That could be an upset. All right, if you want more soccer, though, catch me on Fifth Street Soccer tonight, 6 p.m. on Sirius. That's 9 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM 211, Dan Patrick Sports. All right, in the meantime, we had lots of picks today. Let's recap them for you. Here we go, starting with Sean Higgs, college football picks. Temple at USF, he said take USF plus 2.5. Washington at Oregon State, take Oregon State plus 10. And Texas Tech at West Virginia, take Texas Tech minus 1.5. Then we had Tony T, the Tiger, his college basketball picks. Kansas at Duke, again, tip off tomorrow, folks. Take Duke minus 2. Michigan State at Kentucky, take Michigan State minus 2.5. And our NBA pick from El Tigre was Lakers at Bulls, take the under 217. That's what we covered today. And of course, we will have lots more free picks for you. Lots more free picks on our website, picksandparlays.net. Move along there and see as many free picks as you want for your sports betting needs. Please bet responsibly, of course. And when you're ready, you can kick it up a notch and get our expert picks. Don't forget, one last time, our $4.99 college basketball special is now underway on the site, picksandparlays.net. In the meantime, I'm going to step aside and be done for the day. I'll be back on the air on Sirius XM 211 tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, Fifth Street Soccer. Be sure to tune in if you want the latest in the beautiful game. In the meantime, I will speak to you tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 Pacific, on Picks and Parlays. Until then, bet, win, repeat.